It is with great pleasure that we welcome you to yet another episode of Tax Matters. My name is Olumuyiwa Matuluko. How is your week going and how is business going? Today we have a guest in the house in the person of Mr. Mr Kudus, who is the project manager in charge of ITAS at the Federal Inland Revenue Service. ITAS simply means Integrated Tax Administration System. And he will be the one to tell us what ITAS means. Mr. Kudus, you're welcome to Tax Matters.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
welcome.
What exactly is this project about, Integrated Tax Administration System?
It is the platform to which all revenue agencies automate their tax processes. FIRS see the need to embrace ITAS when it was faced with a lot of challenges in the past. Far back to the year 2000, the menace of decay in public sector affected FIRS too. A lot of check diversion, check conversion of various magnitude. Without check, revenue erosion became the order of the day. Nobody bothers to account for what is collected. And government now see the need to reform the entire tax system. So FIRS reform was part of the civil service reform that was introduced by Obasanjo regime. In the reform, we look at critical areas of the challenges. The first that we saw was highly necessary to handle was the revenue erosion. And therefore, a project fact was introduced. That is a bank payment solution was implemented to track all payments through bank to central bank. Okay. That was implemented just to curb the revenue erosion. Based on the functionalities implemented in Project Fact, there are so many questions that Project Fact cannot answer. And there is the need to automate the entire tax processes, because Project Fact is just one module in a tax process. It is a payment module. There are other modules that are not touched by Project Fact, and there was the need to do so if FIRS is to remain in business. The solution we selected is called SICTAS, Standard Integrated Tax Administration System. That solution is a Canadian solution, but based on Nigeria policy, any foreigner implementing anything in Nigeria must have a local presence. So ITAS project in FIRS is implementing SICTAS, and the SICTAS is coming up with a lot of modules to implement, to automate the entire tax process of FIRS. When I talk of tax processes, we have the core processes, and then we have peripheral processes, ranging from registration, return, payment, debt management, auditing and investigation, objections and appeal, and document management. All these are tax processes of FIRS that SICTAS is coming to automate. So in short, ITAS is the platform to which FIRS intend to automate its entire tax business process.
When is ITAS taking off?
ITAS, having been approved by Federal Council in December 22nd, 2010, received management approval to implement in 2011 September, when the contracting process was concluded. So it was the consortium mobilized to site in October and commenced the implementation. So the ITAS has taken up, and it will be implemented on phase-by-phase basis. Okay. In this phase, we're having what we call the project design, project analysis, then the project preparation, project analysis, project design to implementation, pilot, implementation, other site, and then post-implementation support. Okay. So the ITAS has commenced since 15 September 2011, okay, when the contract was signed. And it's for 5 years program, 3 years for implementation, and 2 years support. So it's expected to terminate 2016 November.
Now, you spoke about phases at every stage, yes, or in every phase.
Yes.
What is there for the FIRS as the collector on one hand and the taxpayer on the other hand?
Good. First and foremost, the implementation will have impact seriously on taxpayer when we go live. All the efforts beginning to the contracting to the implementation, they are purely activities that are supposed to run either parallel or concurrently to achieve the go-live date. Now, at the analysis stage, the taxpayer has his own role, FRS has its own role, because it informs all the design efforts. It includes all the collaboration that's required for us to know who are those impacted, for us to carry them along from the beginning. So at the design stage, we redesign the tax forms. The tax form cannot be used unless the taxpayer says yes. It is now user-friendly. It's now easy for them to use. It's better than before. And we cannot use that form unless the tax operation, the users say yes. This captures all our requirements. So before we conclude the design, we did what we call stakeholders expectation gathering. The stakeholders expectation gathering gave us an insight into what we are required to do or what we expect from the solution. So all these things are building between the analysis stage to design into the solution configuration. Mm-hmm. Now, at the time we deploy, taxpayer will now have a sigh of relief that one, what we are used to do manually before is now automated. They will now have sigh of relief that transacting business with FRS is now easier than before. Because if you ask me, what are the major challenges in tax office? I will tell you that taxpayer comes to tax office when the need arises, when they are being constrained to produce tax certificate for contract. They will come to tax office in a rush, and when they get there, because of the nature of rush, so many things are bound to happen. One, they can run into touts, they can run into fraudsters, and also they can be misinformed. The question of a redo will now come up. So by the time ITAS come on board, all the problems militating the process will be transparent. You will know that, oh, this business, I cannot do it with tax office because I have not done this, I have not done this. The whole process will be transparent. The problem with tax office, again, has to do with document management. Taxpayers sending information, the information got missing along the road. At the end of the day, the tax process cannot be completed for taxpayer to get tax certificate. It's a big problem. All these will be history. So as taxpayer file on to transact business with FIRS, it will discover that whatever he's doing is having audit trail of everything, so that wherever there is problem, he will be able to know where the problem is. He won't be under anybody's advice to extort money from him. The whole process will become transparent. He will be able to do his assessment online, send any information required by tax office to tax office. He will be able to process his tax clearance online. He will have a clear visibility to his tax account at any point in time. He can make his payment online. At the comfort of his bedroom, he can transact all businesses he's doing with the tax office now. And again, taxpayers are being bothered with bringing this document, bringing this. It will be history. Because most of the information that tax office would require from taxpayer will have already been stored electronically within the database. And hence, taxpayer will not be bothered bringing those informations again. Moreover, taxpayer reporting has some element of brought forward and carry forward. Those things, system will do them. Taxpayer will not be bothered on all those computations again. And more so, when taxpayer file his returns, the head of eco computation will no longer be there. System will do the computation for him. And he has to validate everything by himself. Tax clearance process can be processed by taxpayer. The only thing there is that we have not got management approval to say taxpayers should be able to print his own tax clearance certificate online. Rather, management is looking at it that still process the tax clearance certificate online by yourself, but go to the taxpayer where your file is and obtain the TCC there.
This is where your file is.
Yes, and obtain the tax clearance there. It means 98% of the job is done by the taxpayer himself at his own comfort. The remaining 2% is for the taxpayer to just print and sign and give to taxpayer. We should not take taxpayer 5 minutes in tax office before it's being attended to.
Okay. So there will be no need for anybody using a go-between?
Yeah, no need.
Okay.
You will see some people there handling some process flow charts. They are all meant to handle our processes to induce efficiency in it. By the time we go live, a lot of process metrics will be built into the process, so that by the time taxpayer sending a document for processing, and that document stays on a table beyond the specified period, the manager of that office will receive alert. The system will report that officer, all in a bid to make the process more efficient. Because no matter how beautiful a solution is, human being can truncate it. Part of the checks to human efficiency is the introduction or building of a process KPI and process metrics into the system design.
We'll go for a short break. When we come back, we'll try to look at what has been achieved since this process commenced. Don't go away.
Oga, don't come. Oh. Tax man, now you sit down. How long you thought you go take bring the tax clearance certificate for me?
Oga, once you give me the money, the tax clearance certificate go ready now.
Now?
Yes, Oga.
Oga, wait, make I bring the money.
Wait. Agent for Federal Inland Revenue Service? This one a Wururu person. Come for here. Guy, forget all these Wururu people. Go any Federal Inland Revenue Service office where they near you. Go collect the original tax clearance certificate. To know the original tax clearance certificate, the tax certificate must get FIRS watermark. It go get signature on top of the FIRS seal, and the name of the tax office where they on top of the certificate must they correct. No print, no give, no even collect fake tax clearance certificate. FIRS don't want say anybody we then catch with fake tax clearance certificate, now jail straight.
For more information, visit www.firs.gov.ng or any FIRS office close to you. FIRS, it pays to pay your tax.
The Federal Inland Revenue Service introduces the tax card to make all tax payment easy for you. Just follow these 7 easy steps. Obtain your taxpayer identification number, TIN, for free at any FIRS office. Get your tax card from your bank. Log on to www.firsonline.com, then register to obtain a password and access the payment process pages. Fill your TIN number, tax type you're paying, amount payable, and period of payment. Confirm the entries on your transaction. Then print your e-ticket and present at any FIRS office as an evidence of tax paid. It's that simple. For more information, visit www.firs.gov.ng or any FIRS office close to you. FIRS, it pays to pay your tax.
Welcome back. We are still on to Tax Matters, and we are discussing Integrated Tax Administration System, ITAS. And our guest is Mr. Mr Kudus, the project manager in charge of the ITAS project at the Federal Inland Revenue Service. Mr. Kudus, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Now, since this process commenced, what can you say has been achieved? Have you begun to experience dividends on your own part and on the part of the taxpayers?
So far, so good. Taxpayers have been part of the design process, and taxpayers have already shown interest in ITAS because the objective of ITAS is to simplify doing business for them with FIRS. They have embraced it. They have shown their commitment. A lot of workshops we held in their favor suggest that they are just waiting for us to go live. They are waiting. We moved from analysis stage, and in analysis stage, what we actually achieve is what we call project definition report. The project definition report tells us how the consortium, the service provider, views FIRS in terms of the structure, in terms of business processes, in terms of business rules, and in terms of the governance. So, and also they view us in terms of our resources. And having obtained that, we were able to also obtain the work plan, the resources from the consortium, and also how the implementation is going to be scheduled. We also obtained the work breakdown structure, suggesting what should be done at intervals. And we're following track on all these key deliverables. If you go to FIRS Data Center now, you'll see sectors there. If you go there, you'll see ITAS hardware and software. If you go to the disaster recovery site in Lagos, you also see sectors there. You'll see hardware and then software. There are so many things connected to all these requirements, but we have met all of them. What we are doing now is to conclude functional specification. In the functional specification, we're a little bit behind, but it is not an issue. Why it is not an issue is because what is hanging it, there are two things that are hanging it. One, the law says the currency of tax return should be the currency of transaction. That is our law. But it is the wish of our management to have national currency as the reporting currency. So we're looking at using only Naira for tax return filing and payment. In doing so, there is a need to review our law, or we review our implementation strategy. Before management decision come for the use of Naira in industries other than oil and gas industry, it took some time because there are legal issues surrounding it. Secondly, there are new initiatives that are being peddled by MOG. So those new initiatives have implication on ITAS. They must integrate to ITAS in one form or the other. And therefore, as they are coming in, we are building them into solution design. These are the few things that delay the functional spec. And again, the issue of saying we should do returns filing on non-oil taxes in Naira, we had problem during the data conversion strategy. We had problem of carrying debts, the balances from K-card, some which are in dollar, some which are in Naira, some which are in euro and pounds for VAT and company income tax. The balances should go into sectors in Naira, but these are the taxes that were assessed in dollar. So at what rate do we convert the liabilities and then allow it to sit in sectors? These are things that delay the completion of functional specs vis-a-vis the technical specification. Okay. But other things being equal, we are on track. Good. By the time we finish this angle, these are the issues we're having on the ground. By the time we're able to go over them, we're on track.
Okay. Yeah. When is ITAS going live?
September 3rd this year.
2013?
Yes, it's going live at our pilot sites. The pilot sites that were earmarked for the phase 1 are the biggest taxpayers in oil and gas.
Okay.
And then no oil.
Okay.
So we're going live with upstream, downstream, oil services. Okay. We're also going live with large taxpayer financial services, large taxpayers, others. Okay. And we are using Ikeja micro and small tax office on the part of the pilot. Okay. These are the pilot one. Okay. And when we go live, we're only going live on core modules.
What do you mean by that?
Core modules, they are standalone modules that FRS, that's the main core business of FRS. They relate to things like tax roll registration, returns, payment, document management. Okay. They are core modules. Good. Although when you look at sectors modules, they are different from FRS modules. Okay. And that is why in most cases we're implementing what we call functionalities. In oil and gas, we're implementing e-filing for oil and gas taxpayers.
That's fine.
We are also implementing everything that has to do with PPT, CIT, and VAT, because these taxes contribute almost 97% of our taxes. So we are concentrating on them for now in the phase 1 of the pilot. By the time we complete phase 1 within 3 months, we are moving to phase 2, which is in Abuja here. The large tax office in Abuja, medium tax in Abuja, and then micro and small tax office in Wusia. Okay. They are in the pilot too. As Avalia said, in each of the pilot, we're implementing wave 1 first, which are the core modules, then the wave 2, which are the peripheral modules. And by the time we reach April next year, we are rolling out to other sites. That is the
2014.
Yes, that is the implementation strategy. Okay. It's based on phases, and phases also based on pilot, and also based on waves.
Okay. This morning, referring to the date that this interview was conducted, Wednesday, June 12, 2013, the acting executive chairman, Alhaji Kabiru Mashi, addressed the press.
Yeah.
And the title is, "Let us move to the next level."
I agree with you.
Which level is that now? That is it talking about the post-ITAS level?
The public address by the executive chairman is what we call executive sponsorship of the project. It is telling the entire staff of FRA that, yes, you've been hearing ITAS, but you are now hearing it from the sponsor, the horse's mouth.
Okay.
It's telling staff, be ready for it. It is a must. We must do it. And it's telling them that if you don't know what is in for you there, is that this registration process that you do, carrying a lot of file here and there, you'll be relieved from all those stresses. Machine will do some of those things. Back-end activities of doing a lot of tabulation, calculation, reporting, machine will help you to do it. On payment, where you have to manually post K card, post payment, post penalty, post discharge order, post remission order, machine will help you to do all those things, including balancing taxpayers' record.
So his address was actually a confidence-building measure for staff.
Telling the staff that you will now have time to yourself to do several other things within the law. Today, we concentrate much on back-end activities instead of feed enforcement, feed audit, and then feed enlightenment. So by the time ITAS come on live, it will give the back-end officers the opportunity to go for feed enforcement. That is what he needs to tell the tax officers, his staff, and that is what he has done. And he also allayed the affair that ITAS implementation does not mean retrenchment.
I was going to that. I was going to ask whether machines will take over from human beings.
He also allayed that fear. Actually, when ITAS go live, registration will be affected, returns will be affected, payment will be affected, document will be affected, tax accounting and refund will be affected, management information system will be affected, auditing and investigation, objection appeal, all of them will be affected. Because a lot of works that are done under this line, most of them will be machine driven. In fact, 70% of the work there will be machine driven. The remaining 30% have to do with things that machine cannot do, but the process have to be undertaken to drive the entry into the machine.
Okay.
So some of those things, easier to tell them that it is now time that you will now concentrate on feed enforcement. Because if you comb this street now, you will discover, you will see 100 taxpayers. When you come back to tax office, you only see about 30. So it will now give FRS one-on-one matching on the taxpayers in the field, while the machine is doing the back-end activities that they are used to. And that's why it said, let's move to the next level.
We want to thank you most sincerely for coming on to the program. We will be coming back to you from time to time because this is a project that is at the core of the reform system, and we want to follow up. So we know that you will oblige us when we call on you again for another outing on the program. We thank you most sincerely for coming.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Tax for tax.
Yes, sir.
It's an excellent one.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.